Hi, this is a new Nigeria with Olawale Oluwade. Today, I'm doing this video as a direct response to Pastor Poju Oyemade of the Covenant Christian Church. There's a trending video where um, Bojo was speaking about living standards, comparing living standards between Nigeria and America, and he concluded that Nigeria had or has a better living standards than America, and that indeed why I'm actually doing is that he said we Nigerians are an ungrateful lot, and that this amounts what we're doing by constantly criticizing our governments is it amounts to self-hate. We don't appreciate what we have. You know, you don't have to take my words for it. Don't take my word. Just take a few minutes. Watch this.
I
Watch.
now found a group of people, and people have been programmed on social media to hate their country, which is self-hatred. I was in America. I sat down with some Nigerians, and they started. I told them, I said, listen, before you continue, Nigeria, a person will graduate as a medical doctor and spend 500,000 throughout to become a doctor. Throughout. I said in America, and they're working in Johns Hopkins. Go and ask them how much. You graduate from Johns Hopkins, you graduate from Harvard as a doctor, and you spend $2,000. Are you okay? Do you know how much money you spend? Nigerians are ungrateful. They will go through everything, education. How much do they spend there? Go there. I said, look, you see a Nigerian, if they tell him in Nigeria to do 2 jobs, he will cost your life out. He will come to America, wake up in the morning, do first job, do second job, do Uber, and do everything he's doing. I said, if they put the fraction of this energy they put here in their country, they will have blown. They kept quiet. He told me, he said, listen, what's the unemployment rate in Nigeria? I said, we don't calculate unemployment rate. He said, no, you must give me a figure. I said, there's no figure. Nigeria, there's nothing like that. Let me tell you why. Yaba did a trade, they were just for church members to sell things. I thought they just put out tents like this, 1, 2, 3, in the car park. I wasn't saying this thing is a waste of time. One lady said, came to me, the pastor, thank you for doing this. Now, just to show you, she was selling wigs. She has a job. Before my eyes, somebody came out of the church and bought 3 wigs, each one 250,000. That business is not registered though. 750 grand that girl carried home. There's no job she's doing. So if somebody is in their house and just starts selling wig, are they unemployed? No. But are they registered as employed? No. Our statistics here is different. Understand your terrain. Do you understand what I'm saying here? You see, one of the problems in Nigeria, people don't understand their terrain. Understand your terrain. In America, you will sell like that. IRS is coming for you. And you go home with 750,000. Out of that 750,000, 200,000 belongs to government. Don't drop it. You will see jail. Are you following what I'm saying here? Understand the terrain. Sit down and say, what is this terrain? Then understand it so you know how to play. The girls and the lady said, when you get more, send to me. In other words, I'm telling you that person could have bought 1.5 million on wigs on the spot. And if you see the lady buying, you will not know she has seen 2 million in her life. My mind was renewed.
Okay, welcome back. Now, I really want to, I wish to know, Boju, what really motivated you to say these things that you have said. Because I have respect for you, particularly because of your interventions, your public intervention, your interest, your public advocacy through the platform, because here you are, you invite speakers from all over the world, not just Nigeria, not just Africa, to proffer solutions to the many problems of Nigeria and Africa, and they do this dispassionately, So I am at a loss. Why are you saying this? What's the motivation behind this outburst? I mean, even the doctors you are referring to that are having such a wonderful time in Nigeria, the population of Nigerian medical doctors, the last time I checked, they are less than 100,000, 230 million Nigerians. The entire population of medical doctors in Nigeria You can see it on the list scrolling. Even though this list you're seeing, the numbers you're seeing is for 2022, and it is from the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria. The entire population of medical doctors in Nigeria are less than 100,000. And the rest of them, even the ones who are available in Nigeria, those who are remaining here, are looking for the next available exit. you know. And by the way, WHO prescribed doctor to patient ratio is 1 doctor to 600 patients. In Nigeria, it is a doctor attending to over 9,000 patients. One doctor is attending to over 9,000 patients in Nigeria. The doctors you claim are having such a wonderful time and have no business going to Johns Hopkins or wherever. Let me not run ahead of myself. So let me say it to you directly, Poju Oyemade, you goofed big time. This was a blunder of epic proportions. You goofed big time. I know your church model. I almost said a business model, but let me just say your church model is the youth demography, especially the upwardly mobile segments of our population, especially those living in cities, just a few cities, especially Lagos, and then you come to Uyo, and then you come to Uyo, capital of Akwa Ibom, then you come to Abuja, the FCT, then you come to Port Harcourt. That's where you are, So, and even then, of course, you also have 3 branches in London, 1 in Brooklyn, in New York, and Ontario in Canada. So unlike, you can be forgiven, because you don't really know Nigeria. You don't know Nigeria, because unlike the Catholic priests who have been killed across Nigeria, because they are serving in the rural parts of Nigeria, and then some of the Pentecostal churches, Redeem, Pastor Adeboye's church, Bishop Oyedepo's church, Dr. Nenche's church, and some of these other churches that have, churches in all the villages, the hamlets, the towns of Nigeria, who are being slaughtered. The Ekwa church pastors who are being killed, Kokin church pastors who are being killed by bandits, by kidnappers and terrorists. They have a more authentic version of Nigeria. The version of Nigeria you have is inauthentic. It is a version that is totally blinkered, a sort of augmented reality. You do not know Nigeria, Poju Oyemade. You don't know Nigeria. You don't know Nigeria. And that's why you can say this. Now, let me tell you about the authentic version of Nigeria you don't know exists, and which is the basis of this your ridiculous statement. Let's talk about security. Look at these pictures here. Can you please tell the more than 2,500 Nigerian souls wasted, murdered, slaughtered in Benue, Plateau, in Enugu, in Ondo State, in Zamfara, in Katsina, in Yobe, in Borno, in Southern Kaduna? Can you go to these places and tell them, that Nigeria is better than, America? These pictures are from live videos that I dare not put here because of the gruesome nature of it. How dare you? Let's move on healthcare. Since Nigerian doctors are having the time of their lives, why are they living in Nigeria in their thousands? Why are they all over America, in the UK, in Canada, in Kuwait, in Saudi Arabia, in the UAE? Why? Not just medical doctors now, general healthcare professionals. Why? Can you explain furthermore to the hundreds of Nigerians who die daily in our hospitals because of, they don't have deposits to pay for treatment, even for cards, and they die? Those who die because of lack of electricity, those who die because of inadequate number of medical doctors, those who die, because of proper modern equipment for proper diagnostics. Can you explain to husbands who lose his wife because she went to give birth, to fathers who lose their daughter, to children who lose their mother because the mother went to the hospital to have a child and she died? In some cases, both the mother and the child die just to give birth in Nigeria. Can you speak to parents who lose their children under 5s to malaria in this time and age? And the list is endless. Nigeria is better than America, right? Let's talk about housing. I know you have your branches just in the city centers. I wish you would go to the rural areas, like I said earlier on, so that you had a feel of the way Nigerians actually live. Go to the rural parts of Nigeria and see the way Nigerians live. Housing, where Nigerians live, the ghetto, the living conditions of the majority of Nigerians. I wish you would do that. Let's talk about infrastructure, particularly roads. Why do you fly, in the aircraft? Why, Poju? Why not travel from Lagos to Abuja by road, or from Port Harcourt to Uyo by road, or from Lagos to Port Harcourt, or from Abuja to? Why not do all of these your trips by road, so that you understand? Even face the threat of being kidnapped, by terrorists or kidnappers on the road. Why? Why do you fly? Why? Let me ask you, Bojo, when was the last time you actually traveled by road for a distance more than 2 or 3 hours within Nigeria? When was the last time? Tell Nigerians, we would like to know. Let me speak about electricity. Please, can you show us, Nigerians, that you do not have generating set, that's a generator, electricity generating set, or solar power inverter or batteries in your home, in your offices, or in any of your churches? Can you please show us? I know you use big hotels like in Abuja, the Continental, former Sheraton, that's where you use for your services in Abuja, and probably a few others, other places. Why? Nigeria is such a wonderful country, and we Nigerians are just an ungrateful lot, But why are you self-generating electricity? Because I am convinced, like most Nigerians, upper middle class, middle and upper middle class, we are self-generating electricity. Why are you doing that? So here's the deal. If you can show me or show Nigerians that you depend solely on public supply of electricity, I would apologize to you publicly via another video. And I would also, assist you to admit that Nigeria is indeed better than America, and we Nigerians are actually an ungrateful lot. That's the deal. Do that. Take up this offer. Let's speak about education. Please, Bojo, go to all the states in Nigeria, particularly Yobe, Zamfara, Katsina, Kaduna, Kano. Go to Oyo State. Go to Nigeria. Go all over Nigeria, in the eastern part of Nigeria. Go and tell them, explain to the between 15 to 20 million out of school children that Nigeria is better than America, and that the reason why, that is not a big deal, that the leaders of Nigeria have robbed them of their future, their destinies, cruelly, most cruelly. Explain to them that Nigeria is better than America, that it's a common thing to have such number, which is the highest in the world, by the way. Nigeria is better than America, right? Let's talk about unemployment. Okay, no, this one I can't deal with this. You know why? You said we don't need statistics. So that's why the MBS is doctoring figures. Unemployment used to be 33 or 34 or 35, but then they said no, we'll use a different methodology, and so it came down to 4%. Nigeria has the same unemployment rate with Canada, UK, even better than France and all of those other places. You told your guests, your listeners, in your audience in America, that we don't need data in Nigeria. Our economy is from heaven. We don't need data in Nigeria. You're a joker. And it is because of people like you that the NBS has been finagling, doctoring figures, coming out with fictitious data. People like you, encourage them to do this. How do you build an economy without adequate, accurate statistics, accurate data for economic planning? How? Bojo? How? And you said this to an international audience. I'm ashamed on your behalf. Let's speak on multidimensional poverty. What exactly will you tell the over 150 million Nigerians living below the poverty line and classified as multidimensionally poor by the same MBS in 2019, not this current one, under Dr. Oyemade? What would you tell them? By the way, do you know Nigeria has the unenviable distinction as the poverty capital, the poverty headquarters of the world? The same Nigeria that's better than America. Let's talk on good governance while we're at it. What can I say? As corrupt and as African-like as Donald Trump is, as corrupt and as African-like in his mentality, in his reflexes, as he is, even Donald Trump wouldn't dare suspend a governor in America. He would never try it. Also, can Donald Trump buy a presidential jet without Congress's approval? Can Donald Trump, furthermore, simply take off and disappear for a couple of weeks to a country or wherever, to review, in inverted commas, his government's performance? While America burns, he would just disappear. And while America burns, he wouldn't give a hoot. I could go on, but there's no need. The brilliant novelist and author, our compatriot Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, she said we shouldn't fall for the tyranny of a single story. She counseled against the tyranny of a single story. This is exactly what you've done, and it is malicious, highly insensitive, seriously offensive, and egregiously obnoxious. What you did. This is your comment. That's what you did. How do you, a supposedly educated person, form such a blatantly skewed, deceitful opinion on a single event? How? How many other persons did you sample their opinions to get a honest reality about Nigeria, living standards in Nigeria? How many people did you sample? Where's the data, metadata, and the final data? Where is it? You form an opinion on a single story. Unbelievable. Now, as a roundup, recently, a report was released about the humongous amount of 661 billion naira spent by Lagos men alone on contractual sex, allegedly. An organization, a private organization, did this report. They did a study and came up with this report. The Lagos men spent the whopping sum of 661 billion naira on illegal sex. The Olosho industry, money for hotels, for Uber, for wig, because ladies buy wigs, So money for shoes, money for clothes. Some of the, well-to-do men buy cars, some buy houses. So you see some of these Nollywood girls that say, small girl, big God, So the Olosho industry. I guess that's part of the opportunities you're talking about, right, Bojo? I also guess part of the opportunity you're talking about that abounds in Nigeria is the kidnapping and banditry industry. That's part of the limitless opportunities that abound in Nigeria. Because when government fails, an underground economy would emerge and thrive. That's what is going on. Now, on this specific issue that you referenced of this lady who bought the wigs, let me pose a few questions. What exactly does this lady do? What exactly does she do? How does she earn a living? What's the source of her income? And is this the sort of message you preach to your members, that someone could just spend 750,000 on a whim or an impulse, just like that? In addition, because I know Adora, Dr. Adora Umeoji, the Zenith Bank MD is my friend. She would not spend money that way. Nobody, and no lady who engages in serious business or does 9 to 5, whether it's for an oil company or a bank, they don't spend money that way. They don't. God forgive me, whether this lady, but God forgive me, but I just know there's a high probability, this person earned that money from whatever source, I don't know. Anyway, final question, how many others have bought wigs like that from the seller of the wigs after that lady? How many others have bought like that, just 3, 5, and splashed or splurged like that? How many? So, as I conclude, Poju Oyemade, you goofed big time. You're my younger brother. I'm older than you. So where we come from, you should respect me. I'm older than you. Not even 2, 3 years. I'm well older than you. So I've earned the right to speak to you as I have done. There's no sugarcoating it. You goofed big time. And this is quite an unforced error and an own goal. I wonder how much of your hard-earned credibility you've lost from this reckless display, of immaturity, and lack of self-restraint. If you have friends you want to please in government, there are better ways of doing this, not this one. You're losing your credibility. Those of us who tune in to watch the interventions on the platform, we will gradually begin to distance ourselves from you with this kind of behaviors. And finally, you owe the long-suffering masses, not just masses, Nigerians generally, an unreserved and sincere apologies. You owe Nigerians. Just listen to what I've reeled out. Facts. I don't peddle rumors or hearsay. I deal in facts, verifiable facts. You owe Nigerians, an unreserved apology. It was unwarranted. What you did was outrightly, inexcusable. It is an affront to our sensibilities, what you did. Your comments are a most insensitive and dishonest statements about Nigeria from a public figure, with a large following, especially one who is a pastor. Our Lord Jesus Christ, who called you, because I believe you are called. Jesus who called you and who called me to do what I'm doing. So your calling is to be a pastor. My calling is to be a public intellectual, to speak and condemn evil in society. That's my calling. I don't just do this. I have a calling to condemn in the strongest possible terms, possible, evil and wickedness in society. Jesus Christ, who called you, who called me, wouldn't do this. Jesus was a friend of the masses. Wherever there was dichotomy between the leaders and the people, Jesus stood. He took the side of the people. He was a friend to the rejected, to the convicted. He was a friend of the friendless. You owe Nigerians an reserved apology. Poju Oyemade. That's my counsel. Thank you.